Welcome, guys, to today's episode. My name is Merijn, and today I'm joined by Jesse Meester, Jesse Meester in Dutch. He's from Amsterdam. Jesse is an entrepreneur. He owns multiple companies. He's a public speaker and content creator with a following of over 1 million people on social media. You may also know him from the TV show 90 Day Fiance on TLC. He does a bunch of different things, and next to all the things that he does, he's a great friend of mine, and good to finally have you here, man. Thanks for coming out.
I appreciate you. Very good to see you again. Just came back from Colombia, so couldn't start my day off better being here with the Maximale Potential crew. And yeah, appreciate you having me, man. Thank you.
Awesome, man. So yeah, we met last year for the first time, 2021, in May or April. We met at the Social Media Summit Sharm el Sheikh,
Yeah,
and we were both the speaker there. And this is when I first met you.
true.
And I wasn't following you on social media before that, and maybe that's because you have a very big, also American following. I was like, why did I not know this guy? And then we met, and it was so fun. And
Yeah.
it's quite funny. Like afterwards, I started like also prepping for the podcast. Started reading some. You type in your name on Google, and I find a lot of this 90 Day Fiance stuff. But I
Yeah.
know you more as entrepreneur guy, and like we have a lot, conversations about life and meaning and business, and we never really talked much about the show. So then afterwards, I saw these like a lot of articles online
Mhm.
and gossip and a lot of different stuff. So we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff today,
Yeah.
but it's quite interesting, I have to say. I think you're like maybe different in real life than what you could expect if I looked you up before. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Oh yeah, no, of course. I think like what you see online or on the show per se is obviously like a character, right? It's um, an idea that is created because that's what's interesting. Like most people want to, see some crazy stuff. They want to see drama. They want to read that stuff. That's why a lot of
Yeah.
well, I don't know, even want to say blogs, but like these tabloids, they write negative stuff or like they love to gossip because that's what makes people go there, read it, and then they get advertisement money for people going there. So there's a lot of clickbait going on under my name, which is very interesting, right? And I'm happy that people are making money on my name. That's good.
Yeah, it is.
Like let's eat
Yeah,
together. But
yeah,
it baffles me sometimes. The every day there's something new, and you learn something about yourself every day. There's a new gossip article or a new, or then I'm married, then I'm broken up, then I'm dating this person, then I'm on this dating site,
yeah.
and I'm very limited. Talks are actually about entrepreneurship and about the bigger picture and about the lives we're changing and about, but that's okay. Like I knew stepping into this, like this is all part of a bigger picture, all part of a bigger marketing plan, if you will.
Right.
And I'm not gonna like beat around the bush about that. Like people
Yeah,
are
it's
like,
cool that you actually say that.
yeah,
Not
no, of
not many
course,
people would say that.
because a lot of people are just like full of shit.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
are like, oh, I'm on this show. Like of course we're on that show, like we're displaying, like of course, like with the right intentions, like love. But you have to understand that there is a bigger picture for people to be on TV to do that.
Hmm.
There's a lot of editing involved. There's um, like a lot of other things that I can't even talk about.
Oh man, that's
But
all.
like it's so if you understand that game and you accept it and you respect it, then it is what it is. But
Yeah,
then you can't complain afterwards, like the negativity or the editing and this is a mistake I made in the beginning where I think I was very disappointed, but that was also because I didn't do enough research about it. Like I was like kind of like always had a passion for like acting. I was actually an actual
yeah,
actor
yeah,
back
yeah.
then. I did an acting course, and I was really like I was passionate about that. So I was like, you know what, my ex back then, my show ex, I call her. She reached out. This was like, what was this? Like I was 21, so that's like 5, 6, 7 years ago almost. That's like a long time. And because back then I had like Meester PT, I won a Dutch Fitness Awards in 2018. I was like really thriving with the company. I was also studying psychology back then. So I was heading towards a different direction, but at the same time, I was always doing acting to the side because I was just living life on my terms. Then she told me about this new show that hasn't like it was the first season, was a new spin-off, and it was like kind of like a documentary style about like finding love with
Mm.
somebody abroad, and it's like very unconventional.
Yeah.
So you know, little did I know that you know that what it was back then because it was new. And then also like I was just like, all right, why not? Let's do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like huge, like big exposure, a big network, and um so we both like at the end of the day benefited from that. So like that's why I will never like be this or that or throw shades to anyone's direct because like at the end of the day like the amount of exposure and the amount of
Hmm.
growth on social media and the community that I've built is beautiful.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
also like I think these type of things like podcasting and live talk with Jesse Meester or my YouTube whatever, people get like a better understanding of who I am, what I actually do, and
We see this lifestyle you're living now, and I've experienced it a little bit as well. Been around you when we did talk
yeah.
there, and we met up again a couple months ago in Tenerife. And you're always in like the 5-star hotels and traveling the luxury lifestyle, and it's pretty epic if I may say. But your life wasn't always like that, right?
No,
So
absolutely
I'm
not,
I'm
man.
curious.
Phew.
You've done a lot of different
Yeah.
stuff, like, over the years. You started like in the military.
Mm-hmm.
You did that for 2 years, I believe.
Yeah,
What
two
what what
years.
what did that teach you? Like it's military is so different from what you're doing
Mm,
now. So
man,
I'm curious to know, like, yeah,
this
why
is
did you make that decision back then, and what did it teach you?
so when I was young, like as in like 6, 7, 8 young years old, I was always playing with like guns, and I wanted to be a soldier and all that stuff. So I always had this vision. I don't know why. I think I just saw like a war movie or something at that age, but I really wanted to be that warrior, and I think that the easiest way to get there was like to be an actual soldier for my country. But then I also wanted to be part of the best. And for me to be part of the best, I needed to like the biggest cluster and go through like special force and whatever. But so I did that assessment. I went through it. Um, went through a horrible time because I had to leave my parental house. So I was like 16 and a half, 17 almost. So you can imagine like a young kid for the first time living on his own in a student room, and then like going into like the training um, and never being there, and coming home to a new environment. I think it's Arnhem is close by here.
Yeah.
Was just very challenging. So I felt very lonely at that time, and I almost didn't make it. I actually was at a point that I got like kicked out, and like the chief himself like had to put me back in because there was like I was just not, I didn't have any security. I had no place anymore, and um, at the same time, I knew that that was going to be my life, and I finished it. I did what I had to do. It was really tough, um, and I also back then was, this is the crazy part. I was the opposite of like being on social and being out there, and I remember like writing on like Facebook like a status of like uh, very critical about like social media and the upcoming of it and like how people are using it, and then but then I started to see the opportunity as well, and I also started like to see that the military was not going to be my future anymore. I had like this drive to just be independent and to not be part of this matrix. I didn't want to have a boss, but I also realized that it was going to be scary because I was back then 19, 20 at that time.
Mm.
I always had a passion for training, fitness, and I was like, well, why don't I just like make that something that I can do. So I started like doing the courses. I started going to the gym, and I actually started just like on a basic rate training people. And because of the military experience, and because I was so tough and direct,
Drill sergeant. Yeah.
I was genuinely like that. So because that's just all I knew. All I knew was discipline, structure, and that's exactly what people that came to me needed. So it just worked, and like all the clients were giving me such high ratings, and um, and then like in 2018, like we won the Dutch Fitness Award with the highest rating in Amsterdam, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like I love changing people's lives, but then I also realized that it was bigger than just fitness. It was all about like mindset and psychology. So I wanted to study psychology, and I was just like going all in on like personal development and
Yeah.
like just living a very humble life. Like I still stayed in a student room because I was like, nah, I just gotta like put all my money like where it needs to be. Um, and then as the company basically grew, like I was able to like buy a place in Amsterdam, um, which when I think I was 21 when I did that. Um, and then after that, I just had a lot more freedom to discover this entrepreneurial lifestyle,
Yeah.
which created a little bit more breathing room. Like like okay, I can make it to the end of the month even if I have no income,
Mm.
and that's sometimes what you need to be creative, to think about what you really want. Because if you always think about surviving, about making money, you never really get to that point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
started cultivating social media and
So,
just going all in on acting.
like, I'm wondering how,
Yeah.
like, what did your fitness business look like back then? You were a personal trainer. Did you have other trainers working in the
Yes.
business, or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. And then when during the psychology studies, we started like also like doing like more like coaching and consulting, and like it was just like basically body mind psychology were the pillars.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how the company morphed,
Yeah.
into this. Um, and now I've like the most things I still do, like yeah, it still exists, but like I just like via Skype and like consulting and that type of stuff. Um,
Yeah. So
and
what made you go from well, being a fitness trainer to really wanting to start more like social media? Because you were successful without social media, right? Already as a
yeah,
personal. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
and that's like it just I think like social media made it scalable.
Yeah.
So I think that I never really invested in my personal brand that much. It was always the company. Um, and that was like something where I realized also with the acting. Like I remember like people seeing me on Dutch TV in this series or Spangas or was this, and like you gained a couple followers of like, hey, cool, you saw me there, and yeah, we liked what you did, but it was like very minimal. Like I know great actors that nobody knows because they might have an appearance in it, but nobody really you know
Yeah.
looks them. So, but once you do reality TV, that is like a whole nother field. Like that just especially in America, you just gain like 100K overnight or something. And it was so overwhelming for me once I saw that, and then like I started building a personal brand um, with that, along with it, because I just saw that a lot of people, because of who I was and what I did, and also what I cultivated, and not taking any bullshit, but just being direct, um, was really appreciated. And I knew that I had to be like, I don't know, just like staying true to myself, and not
Yeah.
losing that, because a lot of people, um, like that community, just like, and I'm talking about my community, just like they really were impacted by that in a positive way. So yeah, as crazy and as it is, like all these things that came on my path just changed the narrative from like, okay, yeah, the company on itself, but like kind of like the personal brand separately from that. And then I also was like, okay, wait, you know what? I should do more with this like digital marketing. Like other people should be building personal brands. There's a
Mm.
huge opportunity here. Um, and after that, I like after the show, I just like started like gaining it, like and connecting with other influencers, even in Russia, and then doing meet and greets in the US, which was absolutely awesome. Like just like being able to, it was so crazy, man. Like when you are in Brooklyn, New York, and you have like so many people that come see you. Like I have people flying all across the
Yeah.
U.S. Like I had to get security. I'm like, I'm nobody, man. I'm just like you know what I mean?
You
Like,
had security,
yeah, but it was
Yeah.
crazy, man. I just, but it was beautiful because it's like
Yeah.
these people connected with you in some way
I know
because
exactly.
they saw beyond
Yeah.
the character that was portrayed on TV. They saw what I was actually about, and they appreciated that. And nobody has done what I've done, and you know, because that's something that people have been seeing and appreciating. And of course, like it creates a lot of but that's always when you stand up and stand for something. It creates a lot of people that will support you. It will create a lot of people that will hate you. That's perfectly okay.
That's part of it. As you
And
get bigger,
yeah. So it was just, it was beautiful, man. And then also like being invited in Florida, and the mayor, and was like Hurricane Michael recently, just donating a bunch of money. I don't even live in the U.S., but like you're speaking at veteran homes, like all kinds of volunteer work, right? Um, like people are like, oh, I don't get paid for that. I just do that because I appreciated how like the American people treated me so much. I appreciate that. I wanted to give back as much as I could. And also being in the military myself, I wanted to understand what was going on there. And I also saw that a lot of people were lonely. My own grandma, but also people that have been veterans and are not getting visits, and you know, just trying to like make a change, man. So my life was just like in this like train of like this high speed train, and like in my early 20s I was just going.
I'm
Yeah.
wondering, like, did you visualize all of this? Did you imagine it in your head? Did you dream about it? Or are just things just coming on your path and you're just going with the flow, and it sort of, or did it even accidentally happen? What would you say is the key to that success that you're experiencing?
Well, the visualization started in the military. I remember like the structure was beautiful, everything, but I realized like I needed to opt out the matrix. I needed to take the red pill. I needed to do what I wanted to do. I mean, people retiring at 67, and by the way, there's nothing wrong. Whatever you are in your life, you're happy. Like that's beautiful. But I knew that wasn't for me. I just couldn't. I don't care if I make like, you know, I can just barely survive, but to be free. So I started like educating myself. I started like not just doing the psychology studies, which I graduated as an applied psychologist, but like actually more than anything, the traveling and meeting people all over the world, and also educating myself from financial systems to energy to abundance. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I need to realize what my freedom level is. What do I really need? Okay, I need to pay my mortgage a little bit, to pay my bills. Okay, okay. All right. So, and then I have this money left to like, you know, live a good life and do whatever I want. I can do that. So once I got out of that survival mode and I was making enough money, I was like, okay. Because it was so scary at first. Like for anyone starting a business can probably relate, and you too. It's like very stressful. It's like, oh my god, am I gonna have enough money at the end of the month or at the end of the year? And um, that's always like it's not like this dream or this like fairy tale that people think it is. Like, oh, it's always, no, it's not that. But it took a while to be able to have the mindset and to be able to, you know, do what I do.
Yeah. I also like, I don't believe entrepreneurship is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying as well, some people are very happy in a 9 to 5, and sometimes I'm a bit like, because this is what I believe in, I'm a bit like, this is what everybody has to do. But now, like, that's what I said years ago, and now years later, I'm like, I see a lot of people around me that work a 9 to 5 and that are actually happy doing that. And sometimes, you know, I look at them and I was like, I'm sort of jealous even of you being able not to have any stress.
Yeah.
I just being able to be like, oh, it's 5. Like I'm good to go now. I just shut your mind up. Like to me, that's impossible. You know, I'm just like so obsessed with this shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was like born like this. But I think every entrepreneur like no one only has ups. We have ups and downs, and that's part of life, whether you're an entrepreneur or not. If you're not an
True.
entrepreneur, you have it in other areas.
Your mind is the biggest battleground. That's like this is like all about mindset, man. And like the crazy thing is that we're so part of this like this matrix game in life where big banks and organization and are printing so much money. I think like 50% of the entire money printed has been actually printed in the last 2 years. Inflation has never been this high. We're living in this bubble, and everybody's like, with all the respect, like slaving hours of their life away to get a piece of that cake, to pay their bills, to pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
And it's to me personally, that is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because like my best friend who studied for a long time to be a banker, um, was finally done, and he got cancer. He passed away at like his early 30s, and I just it hit me so hard. I remember I was back then in the U.S. I was in Virginia. I took a flight straight home, and I was devastated, um, because I knew his plans, I knew his visions for the future.
Right.
So because we always talked every day, and I'm like, he was just about to start. I was about to make a lot of money as a bank, and I'm like, that's something you just can't control. So like for me, it just changed my entire perspective. More than ayahuasca and the toad, what I did, it changed there, because I was like, I don't need to fuck what people think. I just need to live however I want. Okay, and I think that just living in a moment and appreciating life's beauty and embracing it and like being around good energy, good people, right, that are real and authentic and understand each other or willing to understand. That is just what I wanted, and it just made me realize like how short life is, and then if I yeah just I don't know, man. I just live my life like it's my last day, to be honest with you, and that's just how it changed for me.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Now I know a lot of people are going to say, this is easy to say if you have money. What about if you don't?
Well, after I left the military, I had a part-time security job. Like, it's not that I just was like, oh, let me be irresponsible and just, no. I was like, okay, I need to build something. I'm very aware that I need a little bit of money to pay certain things. So to give myself peace of mind, let me hold like what was it, like 18 hours a week,
Yeah.
part-time security job, because that's usually what people like after military do, like, something like that, or in the police or whatever. So and I had a good time because it allowed me to study, to pay for my studies, and to invest in my company, right? Uh, and at the same time learn from that too. But then once I saw that for everybody it's gonna be different. Once you have like enough revenue or you have enough
Yeah.
like assets, then you can make that step. But no, of course you can't just be irresponsible like that. Like and I mean it. That's kind of like how I did it, man.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
that was what I
yeah,
was thinking about. For me, it was
yeah.
during a study. I was also working a side job and then also the business next to it. Well, could I have started my business faster? Yes, if I had like, all the hours a week. But then there's a reality of, my parents want me to go to study,
Yeah,
and, you have to pay for things. And so that's the reality as well.
true.
But I believe that, with a side hustle, yeah, for one person, it might take a year, for another one, maybe 3 years.
Mm,
But you got to look at the bigger picture. Like, what do you want, like, in 5 years from now? And so many people are only focused on, getting through the month, and that's, as you say, like, heartbreaking. It's
it is,
it's
man.
what I think as well.
I come back after 2 months of being in the jungle, like in the mountains. Like there's no like COVID or all this stuff there, right? But like, and then you come back here, and there's this lockdown stuff, and I'm in an Uber, or I'm in like just arriving at the airport, and I see just the way people like are so bitter, and I get it. Like in this situation, everything that's going on, and my friend has 2 cafes in Amsterdam. He has to close them down. He's losing a lot of money. So you see society changing and merging, and it's very saddening. It's very saddening, and even if we talk about this subject, which we're not going to do because it will get flagged, it will get like
Yeah.
it will shadow ban and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this like big tech that actually doesn't allow us to speak about certain subjects like this because and thank God, like Joe Rogan, if you listen to his podcast like he does, and he brings us people that are canceled, right? He brings them on. Um, but we live in this crazy time where we can't speak about certain things. If somebody says something wrong, we cancel them, and then they can't do anything else anymore. Um, and it's yeah, it's very challenging. And then we have this inflation. People can't, there's a lot of people that have like you say, like a 9 to 5 that might struggle now with their groceries or their bills.
Yeah. At the same
Yeah,
time, though, compared to
yeah.
30 years ago, we do have more opportunity than ever,
Hmm.
especially with the internet and with just a phone. Look at what you can do.
True. Yeah.
So that's in my opinion pretty amazing. At the same time, it also is it can be destructive in the sense of even me, that had my burnout, and we had a conversation about this actually about me changing my direction in life. Even me just like being very successful, making a lot of money at an early age, traveling the world, doing what I always visualized I wanted to do. I was living that life that I created, and then helping people get in shape with fitness. And then after like 7 years of doing that, of like sort of doing the same thing and living that dream, that wasn't my dream anymore, and I was still doing it. And here I am, very like financially successful, like 25 years old, and I get a burnout, and it's like, and
Yeah.
it's even talking about. I feel like I'm complaining when I
Hmm.
talk about it, but it's real. It's happening to a lot of people. No one has ever like I think in the history there have never been more burnouts than now. And there at the same time there are like more opportunities, and you can be easily financially successful.
Hmm.
But then there is something that I neglected, which is the whole mental aspect of me just like only working and just at some point doing stuff that I don't like. And this is where you do a little bit different, or at least in the way that you feel more like what's the next thing that I want to do. And I never listened to any emotions. It was just
You
always
gotta step back,
like,
man.
this is the plan, these are the steps I'm gonna execute every day, bum bum, military mindset sort of.
Yeah.
And never listen to those emotions, and just not knowing what emotions are, and so not giving myself any rest, and always wanting to hustle more, even though I was already doing well. And now looking back, I'm like why, yeah, you had everything that you wanted, and
Yeah.
then but it all has to do with that energy, and not following that energy. So
We live in an
just
information-based society. Like we get so many impulses right now,
yeah,
and it's like I think, and especially our younger generation is dealing with this on a skill like we can't even comprehend.
yeah, exactly,
Also, the
yeah,
long-term health effects. Right? We live in our phones. We live in this constant information. So how are we able to even process our own information? What's happening inside our bodies? Nobody, uh, hardly anybody even does like this mindfulness or this meditation. That's why
yeah,
it
yeah,
has never been more important.
yeah,
And also, um, like the reason why I opted out of the fitness business a little bit because I saw and I was guilty of it. It was more about ego,
mm,
and I'm gonna be completely vulnerable here. I was like, even in my peak state, right? I was like, yeah, now I look good, and I was like getting a bunch of women, and I was having, sex, and I felt that was fulfilling, but it was completely empty and lonely. But that, because of ego, we think that's the shit. We think we gotta look muscular, we gotta look this, but so I kind of like I didn't feel when I made that transition to more like understanding psychology, but more importantly spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually I did ayahuasca and Toad. I just understood more about myself and the world, and also how we are wired. And back then, I was inspired by Z's and like aesthetics,
Yeah,
and
me too, man.
like, and I
Yeah.
thought that, well, like,
Yeah.
but that's not it, though. Like, and that's
Yeah.
also where I detached myself when I got robbed in Barcelona from a lot more
Mm.
materialistic stuff. Like, I was able to buy expensive watches and this and that, and then I had a web shop, and I wanted to like make nice shots. So I had a team in Barcelona with me, and then I had this like Louis bag with me, the backpack. I probably got followed from my hotel by somebody, and I literally had all my watches and my jewelry with me in that bag because we were shooting it. We're in the Starbucks just having a break. Literally, I look 1 second back to like ask if my photographer wants a coffee, and the bag is just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that broke me so much. I went into therapy for it. Um, because it was, I personalized myself with that jewelry because I worked so hard for it, and it was
Right.
like, it's like buying an expensive car, like, but losing 60 70K or more even in a blink of an eye, which was like, at that, like, you felt like, yeah, you personalized with it.
Yeah.
And it hurt me so much, and now in hindsight I'm like, it became a part of me. And that should have never happened.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
So it just, I don't know, man. This like also changed like a lot of things
But
for me.
at the same time, you do
Yeah.
still live this luxury lifestyle.
True.
That's
but,
sort of interesting. Like,
but like traveling,
Yeah.
like I mean, and at the same time, this is like also what it's not just luxury, like, because like people think luxury is always like this 5-star hotel, but no, for me, the luxury is also the camping in a beautiful place, again, next to a lagoon, in a little tent that we bought, and also doing like hiking, and
yeah, you do a lot of outdoor
so, and
stuff.
also,
Yeah.
like, what is your definition of luxury? What is your definition of success? Right?
Yeah.
But for me, um, like, yeah, I like just anywhere in the world to experience the finer things of life, and that means nature. That means experiencing like a shamanic ritual in South America. That means camping wherever we want, and going to places that most people don't.
Yeah.
That's just something that I've.
Is that something you always dreamed about since you were young? You wanted to travel the world? That was definitely something for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
that's beautiful.
I always wanted
yeah.
to have that freedom to do that,
Yeah.
And now I haven't traveled in quite some time. I'll go again in 2 weeks to the U.S. Well, we've seen each other. Maybe it's not been that long, but it's you travel
Yeah.
even more than I do. But I used to travel like every single month to different places, and just at the airport, I'm already like, I just feel so amazing. I just
Yeah.
love it, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I always wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel the same, or is it for you because you travel so much that it's nice to come home? Perhaps. Like, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
be honest with you, man. Right now, after 8 years of just nonstop of
8 years.
like, I'm like, I just said to myself, I just want to be like here for like a month at least. Like, I mean, and now, like, I probably already next week have to go real quick to Marbella to sign like
I
a
have to
contract.
go to Marbella.
Yeah, but
that's
just actually
a
for
burden.
business. Yeah. But no, honestly, man,
Okay.
I just I'm very happy to just like be sometimes at, and that's why like a lot of people don't understand. They think I'm this nomad. No, I actually have property. I have places where I can be in Russia or in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
But I choose to leave it because of like traveling and living life, right? But I know people that I travel with that like even more consciously chose like, no, I don't even want property. I just
Right.
want to like be gone all the time.
Yeah.
That is something I can do.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I need somewhere to land.
Yeah, that's
you know,
for
and
me
be
too.
like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm now just gonna be 1 month or 2 months just here. Like even now, like for 3 days, just had meetings. Like, and now I'm here. So I don't know. It creates a level of peace just in your mind to
Yeah.
have that. So, and I do think I recommend anybody to have something like that.
Yeah, or at least
Yeah,
like even if it's
yeah,
once a year, it's
yeah,
once it doesn't matter how often. Even like like a lot of people go to like the same places, and like often I don't like these very touristy places, but more like when you go into a country and you're with a local and you
mhm,
actually experience the country. Like it
yeah,
doesn't matter what country it is, it's just so good for your personal development to be in different places, even like travel alone.
mhm,
Something I've done a lot as well, and it just opens up your eyes to the actual world, but to a
true.
different world
Yeah,
than what you normally live in. So yeah.
yeah, man. And after like when I finished visited South America again, and especially like in Colombia, and I did the ayahuasca experience. I don't know, man. It opened up my eyes a lot more, and I think I need to, and I think anybody when going through that process and using that medicine in the right
Hmm.
setting with the type that a shaman, you kind of like drop your ego layers,
Yeah.
and I think like when I was there and doing that, you see yourself in the most vulnerable state that you can imagine. You see yourself like being reborn. At least like I went through that experience, and then the next day I did the toad. That's like 10x of what like ayahuasca is. You just like that's why it's called the God molecule. It's so high in the molecule DMT, like you just like you vape it and you just like die, like you just fall. But it's like beautiful, like you.
You die and it's beautiful.
I mean, there's not much more beautiful than dying in my opinion. Like there's nothing
Mm.
that comes close to it. But
Yeah.
like because you know why? Because people, you read these
Well,
stories about
people
like
that they're at
yeah,
peace. Yeah.
they say I saw this light, I saw God, right? I had this nearly death experience. So with the toad, I had that, and was scared. I was like, oh my God, what's happening? But then you're just gone, and then you just see this light, and you see like what I describe as God,
Mm.
and it isn't like a person or a figure or black or white like people say. No, it's just a light, like an entity, and I just
Well, that's
and it
how it is
comforted
for
me.
you. For everybody, it's obviously
Well,
different, but
well, if
yeah.
you are interested, like, I listened to Mike Tyson,
Mm.
in Hotboxing podcast, and he does it a lot actually, and
Mm.
he's become the most, like, imagine the most vicious fighter in history has
Mm.
now become the most humble, loving, amazing, wise human being
Mm.
that I know. And if you listen to him speak now, he's just, and even now, like he's just smoking like a joint or he's eating like mushrooms. I mean, like, by the way, we're not smoking here, or maybe later, I don't know.
We did do some mushrooms before.
But it's just
Mm.
that, um yeah, there's no more ego, man. And
Mm.
you just get comforted. I saw my best friend who passed away, like I saw my whole ancestors, I saw like me just going back all the way to being born, and then I came out of that reborn, and it just gave me a different perspective about life and about. And then Jennifer saw me in the most vulnerable state ever, like
Mm.
because she got out of it, out of her
Yeah,
trip,
yeah, yeah.
and then I was just like touching the grass, and it was blue, and it was so beautiful, and I was appreciating life so much because I'm like, what am I worrying about, man? We always like, even, what is maximum potential? What is success? What is it? I mean, I see there in
Yeah,
Colombia, my
yeah,
friend, people that are sustainable, that live in the most beautiful mountain that you can imagine. Okay, they don't care what's happening in Afghanistan. They don't care what's happening with inflation. They got their cows, they got their plants, they got their solar panels. If they're lucky, they're sustainable. You have your own little family, and that is the future. That is the future, at least for me, and I think also for you know because with the sea levels rising and everything that's going on in the world, and uh, these are facts. You can look them up. So for me, it's like I think more than ever, again, I think we've seen it with the pandemic, like to be sustainable, to
Mm-hmm.
not have to go to a supermarket. Um, so that is why I'm now like looking at like property or land in Spain, because you can relatively buy cheap land
Yeah.
there and like big plots and like a beautiful home. So yeah, like that experience
Nice.
like changed the game for me. Like, like, do you like smoke and stuff, or you like
Do I smoke and
mushrooms
stuff?
and like psychedelics?
We talked about this.
Yeah, you do or
Oh
not
well,
yet?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, like not anymore.
Okay. For me, it's so medicinal, man. Like, and I think for a lot of people, I really like. I don't smoke it as much. Like, I make like the CBD and the teas, and
Yeah. See,
um,
I smoked
yeah,
weed like every day when I was 15, 16 years old.
yeah,
So I started really
it's
early,
yeah.
and then I could like I have an addictive type
Mm,
personality. You know, this is why when I have a goal, also I just go crazy. But when I also like with a pleasure or
yeah,
whatever, I also can indulge or like with eating, I've
yeah.
had problems, you know, with like eating disorder,
Hmm.
and so I get hooked quickly on stuff that makes me feel good, you know. So this is why like
Yeah,
I've always thought about doing
yeah,
ayahuasca at some point in my life, but like I don't know when.
yeah.
I need to be fully ready now with my mental state now. Definitely not. So maybe you know, maybe in a year or two or whatever.
Well,
Whenever
it
I,
comes on your
it was
path. Yeah,
exactly, and
yeah,
that's like
yeah,
I've known about this stuff for
yeah,
5 years, you know, and
yeah,
I many friends have done it, and you've talked about it as well, and
yeah.
your experiences, and I think it can be amazing. And you know, in general, like also like weed for some people, you know, it can be great, but you can also get hooked on it, and then problem comes in. So I find it hard to.
Hmm.
This is why I don't really talk about this stuff because I just find it too difficult, man. There's the people who have no problem just doing something once, and then the people who just you know quickly get hooked on something. I
True,
think
man.
ayahuasca is
True.
different. You're
Yeah.
not gonna do that every
Yeah.
day,
Well.
but
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. And also, like, I think because you explain about your state of mind now, but like, if you have that intention, and this is the thing that was very confronting for me during that ayahuasca ceremony, because everybody goes kind of like through their own journey and their own baggage and their own trauma or whatever they're dealing with. And like, I remember like doing the first one, and the shaman gives it to you, and I'm like, I'm not feeling anything right yet. And you see people puking and like, or screaming, or like going through their own process. And I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Like, so I went, I took another one, like after like an hour or so, and then, because it's the whole day, it's like the whole night. And then after the third one, I was like, I was in there, and I was like, I was just walking, and it was like a beautiful, beautiful area with like nature. So you start to like, see the energy coming from trees and the animals, and it was beautiful, man. But and also like you just sit there and just meditate, just like start thinking, and like and then I remember like at some point I started hugging with
trees,
yeah, no,
hugging
no,
trees.
not true. Yeah, some people did actually. Well, but like my partner came to me, like she started laying with me, and then the shaman came and he said no, like, because you have to,
Oh,
this is your own process, like you don't want to mix that yet, that energy that has to be after. So it was very, very interesting, that process, and very life changing. So I think if you set the right intention, if
yeah,
it's going to be confronting, I know people that have a terrible experience,
yeah,
but maybe you needed to go through something
yeah.
like
Some
that. I
sort of
don't know,
trauma, yeah,
But what I don't like is when people use it wrongly, or with the wrong, like, like not a ceremony. They just get it, and then they say, "Oh, I had a terrible experience. This is dangerous."
yeah.
No,
That's
like,
true.
I waited for so long for the right moment to do
Yeah,
it, and I trusted my partner and the right shaman to do it in where it's from, the plants, South America, not in my home in a market.
yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. So the right moment will come at
yeah,
some stage. I
yeah.
believe so. So Jesse, I know you have multiple companies. Maybe really quickly talk about which ones you do have.
I'm mainly now all in on my digital marketing
Okay.
agency, because that is just, I don't know. There's just so much to do, and that's why, like, I'm involved with my partner in it, and whether it's the NFT space, the crypto space, that's mainly the big thing now. But also, like, of course, the travel space, and
Hmm.
like building brands for people, but also products, e-commerce. And just, I don't know, just that's the future, internet, digital. So I like that, but I also like it on my own pace, because I have also, like you, the tendency to like go like nuts and just like make long nights
Hmm.
and then just like get so hyped about it and then forget about everything else. And
Yeah.
I've kind of like taught myself to relax and just like okay,
That's good, man.
like you have to, I don't know, like for yourself, and that's different for everybody, find like a freedom level. And whatever that is for you, you figure it out if you ask the right questions. But it requires, like, that's why an investment is very important. Like every day at 7 p.m., 1 p.m., if I'm not together with my partner, we do a meditation, like just 20, 30 minutes,
Hmm.
just sitting there, like meditating and like setting our intentions. Um, it's a life changer. And for a lot of people, it's like, wait, I have to work, I have to do it. No, like I told you right before the podcast, like I
Yeah.
just sometimes walk 2 hours, like in the
Yeah. Yeah.
park, like and just be on meetings and calls because it levels your creativity. And sometimes like also investing in relationships, with your partner and like guys, man,
Yeah.
it's we are so, and this is why I'm maybe guilty a little bit, where in the beginning of my social media, I was just pushing like this lifestyle, right? And it was true. I was doing that, but I wasn't giving the context of the back end, right? Like what am I doing in the back end? What is going through my mind? And what I love about you, Merijn, and that's also why we became such good friends. You're so real and you're so authentic in who you are and what you go through. So a lot of people can relate and can be like, hey, I recognize that or this or that. What
Thanks,
I
man.
don't like is what's still happening on social a lot is these influencers. I don't want to call them creators even, and they just push um, lifestyle without any contribution or without any authenticity. And that's where I do podcasting, live talk with Jesse Meester, but like in just talking to a bunch of people that have an interesting story and a real story. It's the long form content. People that want to see a cute picture and a reel of where I am, you have to go to my Instagram.
Yeah.
If you want to see a deeper meaning, you got to go to the podcast or you got to go to YouTube. So
Yeah. Exactly. It's
it's
what I like about
yeah,
the podcast as
yeah,
well. This is a lot different for me than shooting like YouTube
yeah,
videos and posting Instagram pictures, and just go much deeper
yeah,
on subjects, And it's cool. We're just like hanging out and at the same time recording some shit,
true,
like
yeah,
it's really cool, man. So I'm wondering, like, this is what I wanted to ask you. Since you have multiple businesses, and then well, social media, you can call that a business as well in itself. Obviously, like recording all the stuff and all the things that you do. What would you recommend for someone like who's starting as an entrepreneur? Because you have multiple sources of income, but do you recommend like someone starting? Because I see a lot of these very young guys now, and they're like doing 5 things at the same time when they're starting. Would you recommend like putting all your eggs in the different baskets, or just like going all in when you're just like in the beginning of your journey? Because you're a bit further now, so
well, this is a good question, man. What's important first, like, and I think this is what a lot of people struggle with before they start, is what do I really want? And if you don't know that yet, don't judge yourself. That's okay. Then in that case, just like figure it out. Like try this first, and that not it. Like for me, it was the
yeah,
military. I figured out doing it that no, I didn't want to do this for the rest of my life. So, but back then I was like, that's gonna be like I'm gonna be fucking elite. Like, so try, go, figure it out. You have time, right? Whether you're 30 or even if you're 40, you still have time. Okay, and it's like, of course, once you find that niche that you like, that passion, then you go all in. And I think right now, if I would be in like like no business, nothing, I would completely start over right now in this time. And again, this is no financial advice. I would go all in on crypto, and I would go all in NFTs because
mm,
that is the amount of money you can make on a daily basis, and of course you can also lose it, is just
yeah,
baffling. I don't see any other way to make that quick, that easy, that kind of money. So it's just very it's a very big opportunity, and I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely really study that, go all in on that, like trade like NFTs and stuff. Um, I see a bunch of young people doing it, and they make more money than me.
I know, man.
Like
I see these kids like,
it's
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
like I'm talking like
Like,
16, 17-year-olds. Yeah.
for me though, and it's always easy to say if you
Hmm.
make money, but for me, like money has never been the key driver. And like I do have some some money in crypto. Uh, like I don't find it enjoyable to like for me like it
Hmm.
wouldn't be my passion to be like trading all day. I rather do the stuff that I do and just like also inspire and help people. And I think you have the
Hmm.
same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, are there people who have like a passion for crypto only? Would you say, like, is that,
I think
or is it
like
just like an extra thing?
I
Like,
think it's an extra thing. Like, and I
yeah,
think a lot of people are like, what's the quickest and the best way to make money, right? Like, and then allow
yeah,
yourself to like. When I started, I didn't really was involved with that. Like, and I'm like, I was working 18 hours a week on the side, where there's nothing wrong with that, but I could have maybe that 18 hours I could have spent 2 hours a week just
right,
doing a little bit of crypto.
yeah,
Um, and that would have given me so much more time to like scale my own business bigger and make more money. Overall, of course, you have days that you lose, but overall, I think if I look back at just basic trading,
mm-hmm,
I made a lot of money, and
yeah,
that I was able to invest in traveling, into my business, into my personal development, into living life. So
that's nice.
yeah, I mean, and it's again, it's just that I think also what's super super important is being omnipresent. So like when you are on Instagram alone, it's not enough. Like I used even regular media, right? I used like TV,
Yeah,
which is becoming less and less and less more important because now they push more the streaming services like Videoland and Discovery Plus and but I'm fortunate enough to have a contract for TV and Discovery Plus. So, but I think you should try to look into everything and what's for you, and also the way to like position yourself.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah, and perhaps also just as you said before, just do something, like pick
yeah,
something,
true.
because I think like I get this question like almost every day, like, how do I figure out what my passion is? From usually like younger guys or that have been like maybe are studying university
Yeah,
now, and they just don't really know what they want to do, and that's like it's totally normal. It's totally
absolutely.
normal if you're young that you don't know what you want to do. Um, so even me, we had this chat right before I went into, you know, uh, business coaching before I did just fitness coaching, right?
Hmm.
We had this chat about following my passion, and even my passion changed after 7 years of doing something.
Yeah,
So things can change, and that's fine. And I still want to inspire and help people. So the core is sort of the same, but it's just in a slightly different way. And
hmm,
this is how you evolve as well as a person. And if you never try something, you will never know if you like it. If I never tried to make a YouTube video, I would have never known.
true.
Like, so you can never make a conclusion just by rational thought.
True.
So I think sometimes you just have to pick something and go for it, and depending obviously on the sort of investment that it takes, also.
And
Yeah.
also, what I see, and maybe you can relate, at least I can, but a lot of people are very hard on themselves. Like,
Oh, definitely.
oh wait, it needs to be perfect. It needs to have the perfect lighting or this or that. Relax, like just do it. And also, like, if it doesn't go as you want it, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like we mess up sometimes. We learn, and I mean, and if you're tired and like this idea that entrepreneurs need to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning,
Hmm.
like
I
I mean,
know.
wake up whenever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find your productivity level, find what you're enjoying.
Yeah.
Um, it's just that, and people are like, especially young people, and this is why we have a big responsibility here because like and in the beginning I saw this pattern of like, okay, I was pushing all this beautiful content which was real and authentic, but not allowing the context for people to understand it. So, and I'm not even talking about other influencers right now, but it's happening on a large scale. So there's a lot of pressure for people in their 20s or 30, whatever. Like, oh my God, I'm not there yet. I'm not able to do that yet. Like, I need to make money quick, or and they drive themselves crazy. You know, like, and again, the only competition is with yourself, your own mind. And if you are just like taking a step back and assessing everything, and that whatever you do, and if you're happy, that's perfectly okay, man. I have a friend who's a chef, and he's coming home, and you know, that's all he wants. That's fine. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it just breaks my heart, man, that I see a lot of DMs from people that are not in a good place right now, and I just think people are very hard on themselves.
People are, man, and perfection is a big killer. And I believe, like, me not having that much perfection when I started was the key to my success.
Mm-hmm.
And it partly has to do with just not giving a fuck, right?
Yeah.
And do you really not give a fuck? No, you do. You do give a fuck. You know, when you post your first YouTube video, you get almost no views. I was refreshing 137 times, and after that, the counter doesn't go up anymore.
Oh shit! Yeah,
if you don't get any more views than that, it's like, of course it'll hurt, you know.
Yeah.
But you just act like you don't give a fuck, and you keep that like. That's how I talk. That's how I used to talk to myself. So I was doing that affirmations before I knew affirmations were a thing. You know, where you look in the mirror and you say something, and you also have to actually believe it. But I did that before I knew any of that stuff from books or whatever. And I let that perfection sort of go. And years later, my perfection came back. And then, you know, then I got into sort of a bad period in my life where I was indeed like, you know, comparing myself to, you know, maybe now even with training, then comparing myself to my old self. Maybe my old self had a better physique, but now my new self has a way bigger business. And that's why I sacrificed my physique. But then the perfectionist in me wants everything to be perfect and make progress in every area of life.
True.
And you just go through different phases, man. And I do think a lot of people are way too hard on themselves, and social media just gives such a
comparison. People are comparing themselves, their life,
and the highlight reel, man. The highlight reel, you know.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in your mom's basement and you're seeing somebody living the life that you want, like, you know, you can either do two things: make yourself feel miserable. You can go hate on that person and make yourself feel better, or you can be inspired and, you know, say, hey, that's really awesome. Like, I want to, like,
exactly, man.
You know, think about like what I want in my life. Those are the three things that you usually see. But unfortunately, most people that will hate, most people will, like, you know, try to sabotage, or, you know, and that is also what I'm seeing, and especially as a public figure. Because you've been on TV suddenly, and people want to, like, take away from that, or say, oh, there's 15 minutes of fame, and, you know, they just try to do it for more, like, and that's just what you see, and it is a reflection of society and how it functions. And especially on YouTube, on Twitter, there's just a bunch of people that are negative, and it's happening to everybody that's stepping out there to make something of their life. So be prepared, guys. Like, that's just if you want to be somebody that's online and have a presence,
I agree.
You're gonna face, and in the beginning it's overwhelming. I think you can relate, but then after that it's like,
you just get the laughs, you know. But I wouldn't laugh about the comments that I do now. Back in the day when I started, if you only have 3 comments and 2 are sort of hate comments, you know, it's not that great. But it's we all go through it. It's all part of it, you know. And I think a lot of people are also afraid to show where they are now, and they want to live a perfect life first. You know what I mean? Like on social media. So we coach fitness trainers now, and we have some fitness trainers that are, well, they want to be online fitness trainers, but they don't really have clients yet. So they work, you know, like a side job, just like you did, just make some money. But they don't really show that on social media. So they only show like the training and the dieting, and it gets like sort of like not real, you know. So a bit just informative, but you know nothing about the person. While I was like, when I was 19, I was making videos, you know. The Attic is a Zolder. Is that an attic? Is that the word?
Yeah.
It's,
I think so.
it's like
yeah.
in your house, on the top of your
yeah,
house.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's attic. So it's not the basement, but the other side up. And so I was, making videos there on my bed, like I had this California flag in the background because I was a massive fan of San Diego. And so that's where I started. I started making videos, and I could have also had the mindset like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm only going to share when I have this cool car and when I have this office. But then it would have never happened. I would have never gotten there. So it's nothing to be, to shame yourself for, where you are now, because where you are now does not depend, like it does not define your future,
True.
And I think that's so important, man. So I'm wondering now, you're launching a new app. I saw. You want to share anything about that?
Yeah, made a big investment.
Okay.
In, so this team did the app for a Little Kleine, and Man and some other artists and singers. And this is the first time because I wanted the best development team, and that also live in Amsterdam, and they have this amazing office, super professional people. So because I want to do it really right, and I want people to have a good experience, and also with the updates, I want it to be in the App Store, I want it to be in the Android store, and kind of have everything there that you can find on all the platforms, but in an inner circle community, so you can actually chat with me. Right now, there's this app Cameo, for instance. You can request a video message. All right, so I made over $7,000 just receiving DMs there. I love you. Can you text me something back? Okay. So every time somebody texts $10.
That's crazy.
So now if you just pay $10 a month, I don't know exactly what it's gonna cost because we have to look into that, but let's say $10 to have full access to my app, to me. You can text me, and it's not gonna cost you more. I go live in my app. You can see where I'm going. You can see where I'm at. You can see exclusive content. You can see my ebook that I wrote about intermittent fasting that you don't have to buy separately, which is $20. So basically it comes all together.
That's nice.
Because people doing these courses and this and that and separate links, if people are really invested in you, they want you in your own app, and you can create a community there. And then I just want to expand that, and then also just elevate together, and not be relying on other secondary parties.
Yeah, that's great, man.
That's gonna be it's a big investment, but and I don't even know if it's gonna be a good return on investment.
Yeah.
But I do know that it's gonna be what the community wants, and I'm willing to make that investment, and I take that risk.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Good luck with it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And I'll send you over the invite once.
Once it's live, I can ask you questions about life.
Yeah.
Live talk. Yeah. So you have a podcast as well. That's where people should follow you, and on Instagram, obviously. Mm-hmm. All the other platforms, you're probably there.
Yeah.
Right. So.
We just did an amazing podcast with Wim Hof, Live Talk with Jesse Meester, and it's I'll also this will be on there if you're listening. And
so you can listen twice.
Yeah, you can listen to twice. I mean, some good value here, I hope, for some people. And if you have any feedback, feel free to also always share that to put it in the comments on Facebook, or on Instagram, or on YouTube, whatever you're seeing this. And we'll do another part at some point,
Definitely, man. We have a lot more to talk about, but it was great having you here, man. We talked about some good stuff. And I hope indeed that it was valuable. I surely think so. And I appreciate you, bro. Just wanted to say.
I appreciate you too.
Yeah.
Man. Thank you for being you, and inspiring so many people by being real and authentic. It's very rare these days.
And you came all the way out here to Nijmegen, which is a pretty drive, from Amsterdam, 1.5 hours. So
yeah.
I appreciate it, man. So.
Man, I love to do it. Yeah.
We'll catch up again soon.
Absolutely.
Probably in another country.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But for now, I'm going to be here, just stable in Amsterdam.
All right, great. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to check out all the links, and also send me a DM if you enjoyed the podcast. I really appreciate it. See you in the next one.